Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Existence Podcast. My name is mcpeachpies and this is episode 27. Today we're joined by a couple of people, returning guests as we had last time, but another special guest as well. So welcome Noah, how are you?
I'm doing fine, how are you today?
Not too bad. Joined once again by Sandman. Hello Sandman.
Hey, how's it going?
TC Midnite.
Hello.
And once again Wafflestick.
Ahoy.
So welcome everyone, and welcome to all you viewers out there. So a little bit of a later podcast, running a little bit behind recording schedule as last one, which has actually kind of worked out in our favour because lots of things have happened over November as well as over the first few weeks of December in regards to YouTube. So we're mainly going to be talking a lot about that in this podcast today. And where do we want to kick things off? Probably with YouTube Rewind, which came out just a couple of days ago and has been quite a hot topic recently. I know, Sandman, you were saying you haven't even seen it, which is...
No, I haven't even seen the one from last year. Like, I don't watch that stuff. So probably, I don't even know. All that I know is that Minecraft was the most viewed game on YouTube this past year, and that was it.
Yeah, so essentially... Last year, I've got some stats here. TC, you're back and gone and back again. We may have lost TC. But yeah, got some stats here. So yeah, last year's YouTube Rewind 2018, titled Everyone Controls Rewind, is currently the most disliked video on YouTube with 17.23 million dislikes, according to Wikipedia here. And then closely followed by that, actually not even closely followed, the second most disliked video is Baby by Justin Bieber with 10 million. And then
that's not a surprise.
And a close third is this year's YouTube Rewind, which is currently sitting at 6 million dislikes.
See, that's why I really don't watch them, because the like and dislike ratio, if it's highly disliked, I stay away from it. So, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, fair enough. I think last year I didn't actually watch it initially. I kind of just, same reason. I didn't care, didn't want to be bothered with it. But then eventually I watched it just to see, what was actually so bad about it. And I think most of the complaints with last year's were, it was just cringy. Would that be fair to say?
I didn't see last year's, but knowing how, if this is YouTube, it's probably going to be extremely cringeworthy. Knowing you, like, videos made by YouTube themselves, they tend to make really cringy videos.
Yeah,
very trendy videos.
Yeah, pretty much. I've noticed that over kind of...
would be the word for me, but...
What would you use? What would you say? TC?
I can't exactly find the right word for it, but for me, cringy doesn't exactly fit last year. This year, it was just, they played it safe.
I don't even think this year they played it safe. So I think for anyone who hasn't seen it, this year was literally, I think, Noah, how did you explain it?
It's a Watch Mojo video.
Yeah, that's what it's basically.
So Watch Mojo being the notorious YouTube channel for just making completely bizarre and pointless lists of random things that nobody really cares about.
Not always
for some reason
bizarre or pointless. I've liked some of them.
Some of them, but from the ones I've seen, most of them are, they kind of have random and weird reasoning and facts that nobody really asked for. But whether Watch Mojo is good or not is beyond the point of conversation here. Because what YouTube's gotten done is, like Noah said, they've essentially made a top 10 list.
It wasn't even a top 10, it was a top 5.
It was just a weird collection. Because how long is the video? I've got it up here.
I guess some of them are 10.
5 minutes and
6 seconds.
Yeah, I just watched like a minute of it and I'm already bored.
Yeah, see, I think when I don't know if I actually finished it.
Seem
I remember, I think it was
video that I would be interested in.
No, it's not interesting at all. I think Waffle, was it in your Discord server? Yeah, you said got through 2 minutes of rewind, and I was like, yeah, I bet it's becoming a trend of people just disliking the rewinds. I didn't expect it to actually be bad. And then I replied literally the same thing, made it to 2 minutes and gave up. I just couldn't do it. Like,
I was optimistic too. Like, I was expecting it to be really good, and then it's like, disappointment.
Because they definitely acknowledged kind of what they did wrong in the past few years in terms of, for lack of a better word, cringing. Like, everything in them was like, I appreciate the way that they edited, and that's kind of what YouTube Rewind to me is kind of meant to be. It's meant to be like a montage and a cool edit of everything that's kind of been happening on YouTube over the past year. And I remember with like the previous years, obviously I was a little bit more, I guess, naive, didn't really understand YouTube as well. But I remember it being just all these kind of quote unquote famous people from YouTube on the platform doing, I don't know, either whether it be a trendy dance or some sort of like viral video kind of meme thing. And they kind of did that again last year. I think, though, a lot of the problems people had with it last year is that maybe either the people that were in it or the way that people, how would you say, like, did the content. I don't know how to explain it. I think just the way that it played out was really not well done, and I think that's probably where a lot of this like came from.
I know the one thing I remember from last year was a lot of people that weren't actors trying to act, I guess you could say.
No, well, I guess that just comes from everyone in the video does different varieties of content, and not everyone's an actor. But I think just the way that they kind of put all the different people into different scenarios.
Yeah, last year's was right now shows 2.6 million likes, 17 million dislikes, with a total viewing of 190-ish million.
Mm.
And this year's only at like just over 48 million with 2.6 like and 6 million dislikes. So
yeah, see,
I don't know. The numbers aren't even there to watch it.
No, to me this year just, it felt, they went on about like playing it safe, and I think literally one of the first lines is, what is it? Where they say, yeah, in 2018 we made something you didn't like, so in 2019 let's see what you did like. And I thought, okay, that sounds kind of interesting. And then it starts off with like, you know, showing all this montage of the different videos and all the, you know, mass majority of likes and all that stuff, which I thought was pretty good. And I thought that was kind of a cool way of doing it, and it kind of actually shows the content and all that stuff. But then it keeps going. It just doesn't stop. It's just this continuous, just like throwing all this content in your face for stuff you really don't care about.
Yeah,
I don't even know half of it.
No, and I think that was the problem with most of them. Like, I remember last year, one of the biggest complaints I remember seeing up and popping up all the time was people didn't actually know who half the people in the video were. Which is always going to happen. Like, when you're working on such a gigantic platform like YouTube, you're always going to experience that. Even with some of the older ones, like, I've just got to hear the 2014 ones popped up in like my recommended and stuff. Actually, out of curiosity. Let's see, 2014. See, like, this has 132 million views. 1.6 million likes, 80,000 dislikes. See, people were enjoying them then. What changed? Was it just, like, YouTube's, like, public image? Is it the people in the videos?
Probably the public image and bandwagoning. Like, it just seems like a lot of people, like, since it was like a thing last year, I don't think it's cooled down much, and then people are still disliking, like, the newer one, but I mean, they had a reason to, but, you know, still think it's a little bit hot.
I don't think as many people watched the newest one by looking at it, so.
Not yet, anyway.
But it just posted, what, 10 days ago? What's today, the 15th? The 8th? 3 days ago.
Yeah, not very long ago at all. But just like looking here and what ACG 1000 said in the Existence Community Discord recently, he said, what did you want it to be, a feature film of the Minecraft community? Like, they made it the way they do because they're trying to condense an entire year into 5 minutes. They probably didn't want to waste the budget they did last year on something people wouldn't like, so they dumbed everything down. And then he said, you can't please everyone on the platform as massive as YouTube, and I think everyone just dislikes Rewind, thinks disliking Rewind is a meme at this point, which I completely agreed with. I think, like Waffle said, you know, people are getting on the bandwagon. They say, oh, YouTube Rewind, quick, we got to dislike it because YouTube is this horrible, horrible thing, and doesn't deserve any appreciation, which as of recent kind of seems to be true, but also isn't. It's hard to judge with YouTube at the moment. Because, you know,
very difficult.
You've got all this going on, and then also you've got the whole COPPA thing going on, which we'll get to in a minute. But I think we've talked about YouTube problems in past podcasts. I think one of the big ones we had was when they changed the monetization rules. I'm trying to remember, that was a while ago.
That was last year, I think.
Yeah, there's always something going on, and people are always going to dislike what happens. But to me, I think the way that they handled it this year is just, it's like, what is it? I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Because they acknowledged what they did wrong, and they were kind of aware that people really weren't happy with how it went last year. And they almost played it too safe and almost
fun of themselves.
Yeah, but they didn't like make up for it. And it almost feels a little bit lazy, because it's literally just they've looked at their analytics, because they have access to, you know, so much data and statistics, and just compiled this list of kind of like mind-dumbing amount of different stats. Whereas YouTube Rewind to me is meant to be some sort of like celebration of the content and, you know, the community on YouTube itself, rather than just being like, here's everything that got popular.
Right, and then numbers too. And you know, YouTube is a very visual platform. I think they could utilize video more. I mean, instead of numbers. I mean, it's just a visual platform. I think it'd work out better that way. That's just me, though.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like actually having, like they've done in the past, where they've actually, you know, put in like a production value into the video. Whereas this year, like, a lot of people have the skills to kind of just compile a list like this. Whereas YouTube is meant to, you know, be able to promote, you know, this greater level of creation and production like they've done in the past. And I don't know, people seem to be, from what I've seen, people are kind of like, they don't hate it as like for the reasons that they've hated the rewinds in the past. It's just that kind of people are really, I don't know how I'd say it, like just upset by it that YouTube has just taken this kind of easy way out.
I think last year was the first year I actually ever watched it.
Yeah.
Now that I'm looking back.
Like, I don't really remember, like I was saying, you know, I wasn't really around enough to pay much attention to the other ones when they kind of happened, and now it's really like, I think someone was saying, I think it was you, Waffle, you know, it's become so much bigger now. Like, everyone expects so much from it, expects it to be this exact thing, where it, in reality, kind of can just be anything.
Yeah, it's so true.
But I don't know, I just feel like a lot of it is from where YouTube is at the moment in terms of, you know, how creators are on the platform and how, I guess, just everything's going, which leads us into the whole, how do you say COPPA? COPPA? Does it matter? That whole situation? Yeah, pretty much. So, can anyone explain, because I haven't been honestly paying that much attention to the whole thing. I've kind of just pushed it aside, not really that interested in the whole thing. Can anyone explain what it is in a nutshell?
It's essentially based off of the 1998 law that was passed to prevent creators from targeting users under the age of 13 with targeted ads and retrieving their information.
Creators, it was internet companies as a whole.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but essentially it protects users under the age of 13 from companies or whoever from getting their information. For instance, like their credit card number, social security number, etc.
For all those 13-year-olds with credit cards.
Well, you know, you have 13-year-olds that go on with their parents' credit card and buy stuff. Yeah. So 13-year-olds aren't, like, I didn't know my social security number when I was 13. I didn't have any access to a credit card or whatever when I was 13 or younger. But that's essentially what it is. It's to protect minor children under 13 from losing pretty much from like identity theft and their information that people shouldn't be getting. Essentially, it pretty much covers
basically
that.
all the stuff a 13-year-old puts out there free willy-nilly without any thought of consequence.
Exactly.
So I'm just looking at the YouTube support page here. It says in the coming few months, here's what's changing. You will be required to tell us if your content is made for kids. In addition, we'll use machine learning to help identify videos that are clearly targeted towards younger audiences. At a high level, content that is made for kids has an emphasis on children or children's characters, popular children's programming or animated characters, play acting or stories using children's toys, child protagonists engaging in common natural play patterns such as play acting and or imaginative play, popular children's songs, stories, or poems. So essentially they're talking about Spider-Man and Elsa. What a combo.
What they stated is extremely broad because we don't really know, like, is Minecraft really a children's game? That's the big question when it comes to us Minecraft YouTubers. That's the big question. Is Minecraft a children's game?
I think that's where the problem is for a lot of people, is that Minecraft in itself, yes, is a game directed at kids. I think it's got a... I'm trying to think what rating it has off the top of my head. I know it's something like fantasy violence or something, which is completely accurate. You're running around killing monsters.
It's 10 and up.
Minecraft is... What was that, Noah?
Minecraft's officially rated E10 and up on like Xbox and consoles, but it's unrated on PC.
Oh, okay. There you go. I guess that's where Bedrock and all that comes into play, where Microsoft has a lot, I guess, stronger control over it.
Just as everyone 10 and up. That's what I see.
So in that sense,
it's definitely kid friendly, but it's friendly to everybody. It's a family friendly game, and it's very easy to make family friendly content. Now, how the FTC and YouTube decipher that, if it's made for kids or not, that's completely on them, unfortunately.
Well,
even though
it's down to the content creator, isn't it?
Well, supposedly it is down to the content creator, but you do have that penalty of if you mischaracterize your content and say that it's not made for kids. Like I don't know what my I know what my intended audience is. I know who I'm trying to target. But I don't know exactly what my audience makes up because for some reason I don't have access to that demographic in the back end. I don't have that information. So I don't know what the age demographic is, what the majority age is that watches my content. But I know there are kids around the age of 13 that do watch, because I do have my cousin Logan, who's under 13, who watches every single one of my videos, but I'm not targeting specifically him. And I talked a lot about this in my last existence video. But the FTC, you have YouTube who's putting out an algorithm to determine what's made for kids and what's not. And then the FTC, after the first of the year, is going to put out their algorithm to sweep every single video. So if the FTC deems that your video is made for kids, your video will get marked made for kids. And even if you marked that video or your channel's not made for kids, you can face a penalty for that.
See, to me, from what I understand, because it's very, very vague what I do understand, but from what I've gathered, when it says, because there's two definitions, that's I think a lot of the problem that people are having with this is there's only two options. There's content is made for children or kids, whatever it says, and then like content is not made for kids or not targeted at kids. When it says kids, is it meaning 13 and under?
Yeah, their definition is I believe 12 and under. I think 13 is not the definition of a kid because that's a teenager. So I think it's everybody 12 years or under, unless if somebody wants to correct me on that.
I'm not too sure. I'm
But
looking
if
at
you
all my
look at
pages here and can't find anything.
kids are attracted to everything
here we go.
and anything.
Oh yeah.
You can't like, I know kids that go on and watch violent movies that are not intended for kids whatsoever. Are you going to mark that as made for kids? Like, are you going to look at like, for instance, like what's a really scary movie that's come out this year? Like, there's kids that watch that.
We'll say, for example, like It or It Chapter 2. I guess those are the scary movies I think of at the current time.
I'm pretty sure there's there's people under the age of 13 that watch that movie. Are you going to say that it is made for kids? No, it's not, because that's not the intention. That's not where it was, that's not the intended audience it was made for.
Well, if you look at those movies, I guess that's where, there is official rating systems for those movies and all that. And I guess when it comes to online content like YouTube, there isn't actually a way to rate content at the moment.
Right.
And now I guess where it comes into a legal matter, being YouTube being Google, it is this American company. It's a huge company, and in that sense, it has to abide by American law, which is where the FTC comes in.
This is U.S. law. I don't know why other, like, for instance, you Peach have to abide by it, because this is U.S. law. U.S. law can't have any effect over New Zealanders.
Well, it's a U.S. company that has to abide by that law, and Peach kind of falls under. He has to follow YouTube's rules.
Yeah,
but
which
the
YouTube
whole
made it a global thing, I think, for simplicity purposes.
Well, it is they got to follow U.S. law. They can't,
So
I don't know how to really
from
put
what
it.
I've
Like the
gathered,
FTC's,
YouTube has
the FTC's, but like the FTC's whole thing of, if you don't follow this rule, we're going to fine you $42,000 whatever per video.
That's the big thing for me right there.
They're not.
That's the big thing that scares the crap out of me when it comes to this.
From what I've actually gathered, that's not true.
They can't do that to Peach.
I don't think the individual creator is actually necessarily would eligible for that fine be the correct term. It's more or less actually YouTube itself, and it's down to YouTube to ensure that the content that is being displayed to kids, to children, is actually appropriate. So
would it be YouTube that gets fined $42,000 per video then?
As far as I can tell, I can't find any actual source here.
In the videos that they took of the guy from the FTC.
Yeah, I've seen that video. I can't find it at the moment, but I remember seeing that, and that guy sounds absolutely kind of crazy. The way that they make it sound like, if you put a YouTube video
works for the federal government over here is freaking crazy, dude.
Just as a quick reference, I found it here. It's got how old is a kid?
Tied under beer addict.
The age of a kid in the United States is defined as anyone under the age of 13. However, the age of a kid may become higher in other countries, so consider the factors described as the appropriate given how kid is defined by applicable law in your country, and consult legal counsel if you have any additional questions.
See, this is the thing with me, is that I understand what they're trying to do here, and I understand the purpose of this law that they passed. The execution is absolutely terrible, because it's simply with the whole age thing, because with something like this, because YouTube is worldwide, you can't just bring it down to just country or what marketers call geofencing. You can't just keep it within one area and call it good. This is online. 7.5 billion people have access to this. So when you pass a law like this that says we need to keep kids from watching mature stuff, all right, well, I get that, honestly, kids shouldn't be watching mature stuff that they shouldn't be watching, and I'm 110% for that. But when you have the government step in and say this is the law and we have to stop kids from watching this, well, United States says that kids are 12 and under. Well, the UK says I'm just going to throw out a number. I don't really know the exact thing, but 14 and under or
Sure, for sake of example, yeah.
Yeah. So for the sake of the example, yeah. So my video in the United States may not be made for kids, but in another country it is. So do I get penalized because it's because I mischaracterized it in one country, or what's where do you draw the conclusion of someone is mischaracterizing their
that's a good
channel?
point. So to me, I guess I would define, just looking at my, even my channel analytics here, my lifetime kind of audience, my majority, 51% is 18 to 24 years old, with only 7.7 being 13 to 17.
I couldn't even get none of that info up.
Yeah, I guess it's just because I've got enough
I don't even
views
have
and stuff.
access to that info.
Yeah,
in the back end.
I tried to have a look on
I'm
the
assuming
existence
it's the
channel.
same as yours.
I'd say so too. You're kind of,
I don't
it'd
even
be
know
lifetime.
where to even go to, because I looked up in the Creator Studio and it doesn't show that demographic. It doesn't show that analytics.
It should show analytics because I got analytics, but I'm on beta.
If you go to your dashboard, it has analytics there and you can view more. But anyway, I've just had a look at the existence channel here.
Yeah, I'm in
and
we
just
can talk
looking at
about this after.
gender and age, it's just not enough demographic data to show this report.
Oh,
I think
so
it really
now
just
it's showing.
Yeah, I think it just comes a lot down
100% of my audience is 18 to 24 years old.
Oh, there you go.
Mostly 98.6% male. 88.4% not subscribed. So if you're watching this and not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button.
To you or the existence channel?
Both.
Oh dear. But anyway, I think there is definitely... It's easier to define if your content is made specifically for kids than it is for a wide range. Because I think a lot of the discussions we've had in the existence community Discord and the private Discord and even just now, it's clear and definitely apparent that everyone in this podcast at the moment, Noah is definitely questionable depending on what content you refer to. But we would all, I think it's fair to say that we target a wide audience, being family friendly for everyone. And luckily,
that's the goal of family friendly, is because we want it to be
appropriate. Anyone
appropriate
kind of
for parents to sit down with their kids and to have parents and their kids watch this video and everybody be able to take something from it.
Or even just anyone for TC to come along and just watch one of Sandman's videos or watch one of Wafflestick's videos, or like you were saying, your younger cousin to come along and just watch your videos as well. Just anyone from any kind of range, age, background, anything. I've just found here on one of the YouTube support pages, the one determining if your content is made for kids. At the bottom, they've got a little FAQ. And it is, what if my content is applicable to a wide audience, but not specifically kids? And so as it reads here, it says, as the creator, you know your content best. If you intend to reach a kid audience, it's likely that your video is made for kids. If you're not sure about your audience, take a look at its features, at the features of your video. Does it have actors, characters, activities, games, songs, or stories? Well, that's quite broad. That kids are particularly attracted to. If so, your video may be directed at kids. Keep going here.
My single player series is going to have a story. It's going to be a story based. So is that going to be attracted to kids?
Yeah, that's the thing, eh? It continues on here. It says the key is
medieval, but
the key is to balance all the COPPA specified factors that apply to the analyst. Also, there's a helicopter flying over, so you may hear that. For example, the fact that a kid is featured in the video does not necessarily mean that the video is made for kids. You will have to look at all the attributes of the video, like the intended audience, whether the video uses language that is intended for kids to understand, and the subject matter of the video. There's a whole lot more here, but from what I'm gathering with this, is I think everyone at the moment is thinking about targeting, above 13 or above 12, however you want to look at it. Whereas from what I've gathered from all the reading I've done, it's mainly what they're concerned about is content targeted specifically to that much lower age range. So if you think of all the kind of kids shows, and even referring back to the most disliked videos, number 4 here is the baby shark dance with 4.68 million dislikes. Because I can almost guarantee to you that 4.68 million children did not come along and dislike this video.
Yeah,
that is content made for kids.
Yeah. Well, here's the one thing too that really kind of throws me off.
I miss Teletubbies.
Looking back at they're scary, dude. I used to love them when I was a kid. They're scary now.
Fun fact, they're about 7 foot tall as well.
Yeah, I'm only 5'7", dude.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I'm a short dude. Here's the one thing that I have a problem with, or I just don't get. The terms of service for YouTube is anybody 13 or older.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't so they don't allow kids to create an account.
Yeah.
Right.
But where's that go for a 10-year-old that says they're 13?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
when I was
That's
under
how
13, yeah. There's people out there
had YouTube before they were 13. It's because they lied about their age. A lot of kids lie about their age.
So that's one thing, because I guess you can't get past that. So but they also have YouTube Kids?
Yeah, which is something that hasn't really come up in conversation with anything I've ever seen in regards to this whole situation.
I've seen this come up a couple times. I've seen people actually comment on YouTube's original post saying, well, YouTube Kids is a thing. I don't know why you guys aren't acknowledging that, because if something is made for kids, people are most likely going to publish it on YouTube Kids, not on regular YouTube. Because they'll probably get more views and more traffic through there than what they would in regular YouTube. And, it's obvious what videos are made for kids and what videos aren't. But what I haven't seen YouTube at all themselves acknowledge YouTube Kids at all through this whole entire process. So don't you think the terms of service in YouTube Kids would be sufficient enough to cover them in this situation?
I don't know much about YouTube Kids. I don't know if it has ads or anything like that, but from what I've gathered, the reason...
It's essentially everything now that it would be if your video or your channel is marked for kids.
Yeah.
That's essentially YouTube Kids already.
So what would this whole new kind of categorizing system and labeling and stuff, would that mean that if you said your content was made for kids, then primarily it would be displayed on YouTube Kids? Because there's no way you can't actually, I think from what I've read before, if you mark your content as made for kids, it doesn't allow for comments and doesn't show up in recommended and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't show up in your subscription feed. It don't show up there. You don't get alerts, I guess, too.
Wait, does it not show up in your subscription feed?
No.
That's what I was under.
So how can you view this content?
Well, you have to go searching for it. That's the thing. And I think it's an actual site, like a separate site from YouTube.
Yeah, and it's an app as well, widely, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to pay a monthly subscription for it and stuff.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense, because the whole kind of, I guess, concept of this whole new set of rules is around, disabling or preventing personalized ads and data collection in that sense as to what you're watching, so that, advertising companies can use that to their advantage and play ads targeted towards you.
Right.
Yes. Well, that's where they screwed up.
Because they were doing that.
They went to Hasbro and Mattel and these places, and they showed them all these graphs that, hey, X amount of our viewers are kids under the age of 13, and you should advertise here. And it's you're not supposed to be collecting that kind of data.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to avoid now.
Yeah.
Now they're
because this has been a law since 1998.
Yes.
And YouTube hasn't been following it, and now they got caught doing it.
I think they've actually... I'm not sure if this is... I haven't fact-checked this or anything, but I did recall seeing something somewhere about them actually having to go to court before, or Google did for this, or something similar to this.
Okay,
I'm
I
not
wasn't
sure
aware
if
of
I'm
that.
correct on that.
I know the most recent oopsie from YouTube. But this has been a thing. I think it originally, like, it was drafted and presented in 98, and I think it became law in 2000.
Oh, okay.
So,
But some of this is also the biggest stink is that YouTube is basically trying to wash their hands of the liability as far
Which,
as
you
know,
whether your
I
videos are for
understand
kids or
from-
not.
right.
But the stink behind it is as a content creator, I have no data collection abilities of what YouTube does behind the scenes. It's like, that's
Right.
not, you're
Because
basically
you're not
trying
the
to
one scheduling the ads or doing all of that. That's
Exactly.
YouTube that's
and,
doing that.
and
That's
collecting
Google.
data.
Yeah, that's Google that's doing that. So I don't understand on that premises. I don't understand why us content creators who have no control over that are the ones being liable for that.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I don't know if people actually are liable unless you're deliberately setting out to create content, that's actually made for kids and then purposely, enabling kind of these personalized ads and all that kind of stuff. Because, like, for me, I don't monetize anything.
Monetization.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't monetize anything. So the thing with me is that, well, you have all these Minecraft YouTubers who are scared to death that their, channel is going to be taken away and they're going to be fined, an arm and a leg, and their livelihood's going to be ruined. Well, for me, it doesn't matter. I have a full-time job. I'm not making anything off of YouTube. I'm not getting anything out of YouTube. So it doesn't really affect me, but it seems like they're trying to go after channels that are monetized. But
I can't even monetize.
I don't think. I can probably monetize, but I'm only going to make like $4 a year. It's not worth it. But and anyway, I don't want to monetize. That's I want to keep ad free. But I did some research and I asked around the community, and it seems like even though you don't have a monetized channel, you can still be impacted by this. I can still have, my channel taken away. Like, I can still have comments removed. I can still be taken out of subscription feeds, no notifications or anything, or possibly my channel taken away and disabled. But even though I'm not having any ads targeted to anybody who watches this.
Yeah, you can't monetize.
That kind of defeats. Oh, I can't?
No,
not since
one of the
rules,
requirements is a minimum of 1,000 subscribers. You don't have 1,000 subscribers. So
I'm over a quarter of the way there. But yeah, okay, I didn't know that was
there was a time that we could monetize, but
okay, maybe
put the new rules into effect back in July.
I just record videos and put them on YouTube. That's all I know.
It's a hobby.
But yeah, it's a hobby. So I really don't understand how this pertains to content creators that don't monetize their videos, because I'm not monetizing them, so there is no ads on there, so there is no way for
but YouTube is still collecting data who watches your videos.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, you're liable for it, and it's your fault.
I monetize, so
that's
I'm going to be
basically
impacted.
what they're saying.
It just seems like this is a big spaghetti web of just a bunch of legal nonsense that's going over everybody's head. There's no transparency. It's just murky grayness.
Yeah, like you said, legal nonsense, and even lawyers have looked at that COPPA law and be like, yeah, it makes no sense because your definitions are too vague.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem is that the people who make these laws have no experience of what they're doing. They never made YouTube videos. They don't know how to run YouTube. And this is the problem, is that, there is no clear, or there's no clarity when it comes to any of this, because the people who drafted this bill don't know what they're doing and don't know what they're talking about. And like I said, this is, I'm this is a good thing in theory, and I understand where they're, what they're trying to do, and I respect that, but the execution is just terrible, and it's doing more damage to innocent people than helping the people that it's trying to help. And I don't think this is a necessary thing. And for me, I tend to take a conservative point of view on this, is that this isn't supposed to be YouTube or the FTC or the content creator's job to police what kids watch. That should be the parents' responsibility to make sure that their kids
anymore.
Right. But this should be a parent's thing, a parent's responsibility.
I think that's, in YouTube's defense, I think that's where they're trying to get that kind of help from everyone and actually defining what content is specifically made for kids and ensuring that content like, the Baby Shark and Johnny and all that kind of stuff that have those millions and millions of dislikes by more than likely people over the age of 13. I think they're trying to narrow that down.
If parents just did their job and monitored their kids, we probably wouldn't be in this situation right now.
But I definitely agree, but you can't.
Do their job, the school steps in.
That's think why,
especially in Michigan,
because there are kids that
going
do
to homeschooling.
We live in the age of the internet now, where you can literally find anything on the internet if you. Even
and that's what scares me.
It's a scary place. The internet is scary.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, to actually make a YouTube account, you have to be over the age of 13. But that doesn't stop people from having access to YouTube account, whether it be a family one, parent one, or just watching YouTube in general.
You don't even have to be 13 to get on Google and do a search for whatever you want. It's out there.
Yeah.
I think overall, this whole COPPA, potato thing is really, I think it's quite unsettling, as would definitely seem apparent for content creators like, I think it's fair to say specifically like Sandman and Wafflestick, who, Waffle being having monetized content and Sandman being, a very prominent the right word?
I don't know
consistent content creator where, where you're constantly, you're making content all the time. And
at least I've tried to.
I haven't made anything in months.
Me? Shh, quiet. I just put one out yesterday.
No, I said me. I said I haven't made anything in months.
But I'm definitely I'm marking.
My last video went up in April.
Oh dear. I'm definitely marked all my content as not made for kids, in the sense that it's not specifically targeted towards children, and it's
because
for everyone.
That's a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because like I said before, you'll know if a video is made for kids or not.
Yeah.
You would know. You would know based on the commentary and the content that they make. And I don't think Minecraft is I don't think the game is directly intended for kids.
No.
I think it's intended for people, a family-friendly game ages. And because I know majority of people
and their kids to watch together.
Right. Majority of the people
get enjoyment out of it, like a Pixar movie.
Majority of the people that I know that play Minecraft are older than 18. Yeah. And I don't know. I only know a couple people that are kids that play Minecraft, but majority of the people that I know are adults. Majority of the people that I watch on YouTube are older than me, except maybe a couple.
When did Minecraft initially come out?
Pretty much every existence member and maybe a couple other big name YouTubers, but I just,
I think overall they're definitely, I think
2009, so 10 years ago.
Yeah, the FTC is definitely kind of, from what I've seen, they've had talks, and there is pages like websites and stuff where they are taking feedback and suggestions, because like Sam was saying, it was 1998 when this was created and passed in 2000. It's nearly 2 decades old. It's incredibly outdated and needs reflection for the kind of.
I think it just needs to be repealed permanently.
Yeah, I can see the reasons for it, but also it just doesn't quite work in the sense of YouTube, because it is such a gigantic website with so much content and so many different people from literally everywhere in the world.
At the end of the day, there's millions of ways of getting one thing done, and if they need to go this route of making a law that has to be put in place, if you want to reform it, go ahead, as long as it protects the people that it's intended to protect and it doesn't harm innocent people like content creators like me, Waffle, you, and all the other existence members.
I would go more toward the bigger people.
And towards the bigger people like BOO and Chosen Architect and Wells Knight, and because I know it's this scared Wells Knight out of YouTube. He ain't doing YouTube. He's moving over to Twitch, and
but that's just it. It's like it's starting here. It's going to trickle down to Twitch, and
I think
because you can't
completely leaving the platform. I think is a little bit of an overreaction, to be perfectly honest, in my opinion.
You can't get away from it. It's going to go everywhere. If I build a website,
YouTube is just going to be the precedent.
Because I remember
people screw this up.
People did the same thing when we had the last podcast about when they changed the monetization rules. People went, "This is ridiculous. YouTube is ruining it, making it impossible. I'm leaving, going to Twitch." Things are going to keep changing, and sure, it's confusing and difficult, and as we've clearly established in the podcast, we're all very kind of confused and unsettled by it. But I think it would be safe to say that everyone here, and I haven't made any kind of public announcement or anything, but it's definitely kind of the way we directed it, existence and the content from the server is not made specifically for kids. I think anything specifically for kids, we probably don't see on YouTube because we don't watch that stuff and we don't get recommended it. Yeah. To me, that is like those kids' toy reviews and how to make slime and cool little craft things. That's the kind of stuff I envision as made specifically for kids. Whereas what we make is everyone.
There's YouTubers that I know that do unboxing and arts and crafts, but it's not made for kids. It's made for people.
Pineapple's content can be questionable at times, TC. We all know this.
Especially when a bottle's been involved. But still, it's like it's not made for kids.
Absolutely not.
Right. But it could be foreseen as such by just anybody taking a quick glance. It's like, have you really watched his stuff? It is not made for kids.
So this is Pineapple underscore 123, past existence member.
I've seen a lot where this Pineapple. Really... I can go on for hours talking about this, but I do want to say one thing. This really, the one thing that really raises yellow flags for me is that I've noticed a lot of other YouTubers that have talked about this, and they're saying, well, now I need to start swearing and I need to start using profanity and start doing all this stuff so then I don't get marked for kids. This is
so then they fall into the other category.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That is definitely not the right approach.
It's not advertiser friendly.
So now you're pushing
double-edged sword. Now you got to balance in the middle of it.
It's like a tug of war. You're trying to pull people. You need to find that happy medium, and you're trying to crowd everybody within that happy medium. You can't be too provocative where a point where now you're going to be demonetized, but you can't be too family friendly because you may be demonetized because you're kid friendly. But what's the in between? Because like I said, kids are attracted to anything that they want to be attracted to. And it's not a good
broke Sandman.
My brain just kind of quit there.
Yeah, well, I think anyway.
You guys know what I'm saying.
Definitely. I think there's a lot of stuff surrounding this whole situation that everyone is definitely aware of and also really, really confused by. And I think there's definitely an agreement that everyone is
edge about.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this all could be this whole hysteria mess could all be. Just everything could all be avoided if there was just transparency and more clarity in all of this. And I think if the FTC and YouTube were just straightforward, here it is, transparent,
And the whole thing started all with some group complaining to the FTC. That's
That
what
pretty
started
much. It was probably a couple
And-
parents who were seeing a whole bunch of stuff that their kid was watching that they shouldn't be watching, and then complained to YouTube and the FTC, and now they're,
I think
you know,
that's
it's like
that,
once again, this is why I think it's the parents' responsibility to
Yeah.
govern what their kids watch. It should be their responsibility, not ours, not the government, not YouTube, the parents.
At the end of
That's
the day,
where
though, that's somewhat irrelevant because it is the law. It's YouTube, the American company, has to follow it. But
It is. It's the law now. It is,
Yeah.
but I
the
I
same
think
people
it
that
should
took
be
the
the
Pledge
parents'
of Allegiance out of school.
I think this is a
Or
good
the
time to
school.
wrap things up here. Anyway, we've
Yeah.
lost Wafflestick to. He's still alive. Don't worry. He just had to go. Noah went to go eat and never came back. The mysteries of Noah.
And it's
Never
late.
quite be sure. And it's getting late.
Actually,
But,
it's early for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about midday, but that's beyond the point. This is
It's
definitely a
about my
topic
bedtime.
that we're going to have to revisit in the future as it's going to be continuing to develop. And
See how it unfolds.
definitely anyone out there watching this, please do come on into the Existence Community Discord. It's a big discussion with all the community members in there, not just Existence members. So I'd love to kind of get your thoughts and opinion on that.
And we don't just talk
Um,
about COPPA either.
No, we've been talking lots recently about all sorts of things for that matter. But anyway, before we kind of wrap things up here, I wanted to give out another quick and big thanks to all our patrons over at patreon.com/existencesmp. It is with your guys' support that we're able to continue on with our exclusive Season 3 series at the moment and the Keystone server at the moment, as well as, you know, keeping up our website and podcast and all that good stuff. So, huge thank you to TC and Sandman, both you patrons. Thank you very much for your ongoing support. As well as Sugar Caney, The Mundane, Delta Dragon, Pineapple_123, ACG1000, iGalaxy, Lord of the Undead, I Need Help, Wafflestick, who has left the podcast at the moment, Torbray, It's Purple J, Duo Gets Wrecked, and Chris Mon. Thank you guys all so much for your ongoing support. As I said, this is definitely going to be a topic we're going to have to come back to in future episodes, just kind of see where we're at. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately Noah and Wafflestick had to depart early, so thank you to those two for attending, and thank you Sandman and TC. Thank you guys for coming along.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
you.
Yeah, so and thank you to all you viewers out there. We will be sure to catch you in the next episode. See you then.
See ya.
Have a good day, good night, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you.